What's going on, guys? Frost here, and I am back with another video. In this video, I'll be doing an in-depth Kindred jungle guide. Kindred got the most votes on the poll, as you can see right now. So here we are doing the guide. Now, if you guys want to vote yourself on the next poll for the next champion, then make sure to do that. Hit the notification bell so you know when the polls are going up. Every poll will be up for 24 hours for people to vote. And then as soon as the 24-hour ends, the poll will be closed. And whoever then has the most votes will be the next guide. So make sure you get in on that if you want to. And with that being said, let's get right into the runes. Now, for the runes on Kindred, you have the two main runes, which are Conqueror and Press the Attack. Now, this is pretty much just a situation of Press the Attack is very early game focused. So if you are going Press the Attack, you have to play for the early game, really. If you don't, then you're gonna kind of fall off towards the later stages compared to Conqueror. Conqueror is really, really good into mid to late game. So this is just crazy strong for those situations. You stack it easily with your Wolf and your auto attacks, also your Q. So getting like your Conqueror stacked up is quite easy, and this is just overall just insane. If you can keep this up throughout team fights, you have extra lifesteal and extra damage. Mostly extra lifesteal, but the adaptive force is gonna give you extra damage as well. I mostly, and on Kindred, when I play Kindred, I prefer Conqueror over Press, simply because into most matchups it's really difficult to actually, like, you're very lane dependent. If you have lanes that can easily allow you to pressure, like a LeBlanc mid or just an aggressive top lane or aggressive bot lane, some lanes that have the pressure to go up, then you can go Press the Attack. If you don't have the lanes for it, then you're most likely never going to be able to get Press Attack. You should go for Conqueror in those situations. If your lanes are more passive, you can never really go for aggressive plays, allowing you to not play the early game as much, and you would then have to go Conqueror to scale better. Now, moving on from that, we have the Triumph, really. As Kindred, with your ultimate synergy, if you get like really low, your ultimate's gonna, at a certain threshold, stop you from dying, which is very low on health. So you're gonna have a lot of missing HP, and if you would then kill the target, or any target really, you're gonna gain Triumph. It's gonna give you a lot of your HP back, and then survive. Like, you're gonna have a lot more survivability in that situation. So Triumph is really the best synergy with Kindred and Kindred Ultimate. Now, moving on from there, you have the three runes. All three can be very useful. It's really just tenacity against heavy CC comps, because if they have really heavy CC comps and you do not have tenacity, you will never get your ultimate off. And if they lock you down CC wise, you're never going to get your ultimate off. So if they really have that, you need to get this. You can then also combine or get mercs, and with those you should not be able to get CC'd long enough for you to not press your ultimate. So it's really that. And going on from there, you have Alacrity for attack speed, which is a good choice, but you also have Bloodline for lifesteal. Now, what I prefer on Kindred is I prefer to pick up Bloodline over Alacrity, simply because the way I build her usually doesn't build into lifesteal that fast. And if you have the Bloodline effect combined with the Conqueror effect, you will have a lot more sustain from a very early stage. So that's really what I'm looking for with those situations. So if I don't have to go Tenacity, I prefer to go Bloodline. But Alacrity is just as good and will give you attack speed, which is also a very, very nice one to get. So that's honestly honestly up to you, really. If you don't have to get Tenacity, you can get Bloodline or Alacrity. Now, moving on from there, you have Last Stand on Kindred. This is pretty much the best one out of these, just straight up. You can also get cut down if the enemy team is very, very tanky. If they build very high max HPs, think Cho'Gath, think Zac, think Sejuani. Those types of champions, cut down will be good against, because you are a very squishy champion, and you're not going to have much max HP, so this is going to be a very valuable thing then. However, I would not get coup de grace at any situation. I would then opt to go for a Last Stand instead, for any other situation apart from high health tanks. Now, the reason Last Stand is so good on Kindred is because your ultimate prevents you from dying at a very low HP, so your damage increase is going to go up to 11%. And yeah, 11% damage increase, who doesn't want that, really? What can you say other than that's just really, really good. So this synergizes well with Kindred Ultimate, and that's just the one you want to get. Now, for the secondary tree, you have a couple of options. You have the option of going Ravenous Hunter with Sudden Impact. Now, Ravenous Hunter is very, very good simply for the lifesteal. You will gain a lot of HP back from this rune, and this will be used by your Wolf or your W, and then also your E procs and everything. You're gonna get a lot of HP back from that. Sudden Impact, you're dashing a lot, so this is gonna be a very good thing there. Now, the second option is the Nimbus Cloak with Water Walking option. Now, this is by far my favorite, and what I think would be the best option for you to go for in most of your games. The reason for this is Nimbus Cloak, if combined with Smite, is going to give you move speed to chase people down. So going red Smite really is red and blue Smite in one. Also, with your flash, you would have extra escape potential, extra move speed to get away from certain targets. So that's also really good. But the water walking thing is really the main thing about this. Water walking allows you to pretty much have the edge on anyone trying to fight you over the Skull Crab in the river for your initial marks. So if you have water walking, you gain the extra move speed, and you would have just more presence in the river as Kindred at any point. So opting to go for dragons, barons, scuttle crabs, all of that for marks and everything, you'll be stronger. So for like Kindred's way of playing, or like playing into Kindred really, if enemy junglers see the mark on Scuttle Crab, they're most likely going to try to opt to go for that mark in a lot of situations. Now, if they're going to try to fight you on that mark, you're going to be stronger with water walking, and if you don't have it, you can notice a difference quite easily. So this combination and water walking here is going to give you the best strength to fight your scuttle marks, and that's really why I'm opting for this. Now the combination of Nimbus Cloak as well allows you to stick to people a lot easier, and with the E combination Nimbus Cloak, you're just going to be able to catch anyone and stick with anyone at any stage. Also allowing your Conqueror to be more effectively proc that way, and yeah, that's just a really good combination of runes that I would recommend. The final one is the magical footwear, and then you can guarantee it with pretty much a futures market to just guarantee your items, guarantee your scaling really. This is an option you have, however, I do think that the Nimbus Cloak and water walking are the way to go generally. And for the runes here, you just want to get attack speed, you can get adaptive force, and then just armor or magic resist, whatever is best into the enemy team. And that's really it for the runes for Kindred. If you guys have any questions on it, make sure to put those in the comments below. And yeah, let's just get right into the item build now. Alright, so for the item build, the starting item on Kindred, you can go either, really, depending on the type of clear you're going for. If you're going for single target camp clears into like high pressure early game junglers or something like that, you're going for a quick level 3 or looking for pressure quickly on the map, then Hunter's Machete is the best one to get. Simply because this will give you the quickest clear then. Now, if that's not the case and you're going for more of a full clear style, you can then opt to go for Hunter's Talisman to sustain yourself a little bit better. But even then, with a full clear, and if you kite your camps properly, you can easily get away with a full clear on the Machete as well. So they're both viable on Kindred. I just think that this one is a little bit more flexible, because if you're going for a quick clear, then this will also be viable. And if you then want to transition that into a full clear, then you can do that with Machete and kiting your camps as well. Now, going for the refillable potion right afterwards, or just with that, sorry, is just the way to go early game. You want to get your ward, place that ward at about 50 seconds, reset, get the sweeping trinket or the oracle lens, or whatever it's called, the oracle lens. And then with this, you can then play aggressive or see where people's wards are and everything like that. But it's really the early start. Now, going from there, as Kindred, you have the red smite really at any point. So just pick up a red smite and build this into either the Blood Razor or the Warrior enchant. Now, this will differ for games. So if you are facing tanks, so let's say Orntop, Zac jungle, maybe a Nautilus support or something like teams like that, or just even 2 tanks, whatever, teams that are really tanky or hard to kill. In that case, Blood Razor is best. If you're facing more assassins, more squishies, then Warrior is better for those cases, because then the extra attack damage will do more damage than this effect will do. And this effect gives you 50% attack speed, which is very nice as well. But again, the basic attacks 4% of the target's max HP is going to do more than Warrior would against tanky champions, and is going to do less than Warrior will do overall against non-tanky champions. So again, a non-tanky enemy team, squishy team, get Warrior. If not, get this, and that's really the option there. Now, building from there, you have the boots. Now, viable boots on Kindred include the Berserker Greaves for attack speed, and then the mercs and or ninjas if you need to against certain matchups. Now, if you're facing, let's say, AD assassins, then ninjas becomes very good. If you're facing high CC, then mercs is a very good choice as well. And if you're facing just ahead and scaling and pushing through with getting a lead, then Berserker Greaves are a viable choice, because 35% attack speed is going to be very nice in a situation like that. Now, the only situation, like this is only good, these attack speed boots are only viable and good to pick up if you're going for a Warrior. If you're not going to go for a Warrior, and want to get the Blood Razor, then it's usually better to get mercs, because in those situations you have those high HP tanks, and those high HP tanks have kits that will have a lot of CC in them as well. So if you're going Blood Razor, do not pick this up, because you already have a massive amount of attack speed from Blood Razor, and then you just want to pick up the defensive boots, which most likely will be the mercs, since you're facing tanks that have kit or like CC built into their kit. So that's really it for this setup. Now going from here, you have a variable like choice of like options. Like really, you have a choice. Now the one item I do get pretty much every single time is Black Cleaver, because it is good in both builds, and as Kindred you're easily able to stack up the armor pen effect from this, and also just the CDR from this is really good. So the move speed from the Phage effect is going to be very good, and then also the armor shred is going to easily be procced by auto attack, procced, Q will proc it, and then also your wolf will proc it on hits. So this will get you your Black Cleaver stacks and the armor pen really fast. So in both cases, against squishy teams or against tanky teams with Blood Razor or Warrior, this will be a core item, and it's going to be good in both cases. This one is going to be good against tanks simply because it will shred the armor, and this effect from this item is physical damage, so it's based on the target's max HP on physical damage, and if the armor shreds, then the physical or like the attack speed is, or just the damage is going to increase on them, so the synergy is really high here. Now, however, if you are scaling and doing well, you can also opt to go for a, if you're not going for this item and going for the Warrior, you can then opt to go for Bladed Rune King still if you want to, but I do value Black Cleaver higher than that, simply because you are easily able to stack it. So this is usually the item I will go for, and a standard setup would look something like this. Let's say you're facing tanky setup like this, you can go and opt for something like this, and this will be a very good choice. Now, keeping that in mind with everything in the squishy one as well, you have two build paths to really go from here, from this point in time. You have the crit build path, or you have the tank destroyer build path. Both are going to be very good, and both depend on really how you would have built. So if you would have built a warrior, then you're most likely going to go into the crit build path, and if you would have, like if you built this, then you're going to go into a tank destroyer build path, and that's really what you're opting for. So you have to really decide your build the moment you pick up your jungle item and pick up the enchant for it. And, well, it's really easy to tell in most cases, so just keep the line of tanks or non-tanks, and then you'll be fine. So against tanky teams, if you're going for a tank destroyer build and you would have built something like this at this stage in the game, you now have the option to go for one of the, you need to go for one of the options here, really. So you have attack speed is really what you click. You need more attack speed. Currently, having more attack speed is very good, even though you have Blood Razor already. You have options between the Phantom Dancer, the Hurricane, the Bladed Rune King at this point, but that's usually going to come later with this. So it's Phantom Dancer, Bladed Rune King. I don't want to miss anything here, so let me check real quick. You have Rapid Fire Cannon, and the... yeah, no, that's it, really. So for these ones, there is... these three are the options, really. So the way you want to think about this is, for the other build as well, by the way, if you're going crit build and you would have built this, I'm just going to quickly set it up a little bit differently. Let me, like, whatever, like I'm gonna put this here. So this build is quite similar in both cases. So you would have either go for Warrior, or you would have gone for this into a Black Cleaver. Now moving on from there, you have the option of going Phantom Dancer, Hurricane, or Rapid Fire Cannon. Now the situation where you want to go for either of these items is, Phantom Dancer is good against assassins, good against high burst champions, since this will give you a shield to help you survive in those situations. So if those are the case, and with this you will most likely have the Warrior combination as well, then you get a Phantom Dancer. If you are facing a lot of tanks, a lot of champions that get into melee range, a lot of champions that tend to like get up close, then Hurricane is the best bet, and champions that will not be able to just instantly delete you off the map, then you want to get Hurricane, simply because this will proc and this will like help with the effect of this as well. So if you're going fully tank destroyer style, then Hurricane is the best bet, really, and that's the option here. Now if you are missing range, however, so if the enemy team is outranging you or whatever, and you're not like having trouble to get in range, so champions that would classify into that category are facing a Xerath, facing an Azir, facing like turrets like that, Jhin. Champions like this is are champions where you need to go for rapid fire cannon, because if you don't get rapid fire cannon, you're never going to get in range, and then you will have trouble killing them. So that's all the options here, and keep that in mind. You're going to pick up one of these items depending on those options. Now let's say we're going for the tank destroyer build. So you have the enchant, disenchant right here, Blood Razor into a black cleaver, and then you pick up the hurricane, because most cases the tanks are going to be in your face, and you can kill both tanks at once, really, because the hurricane will put the effects through on both of them. So that will destroy both tanks at once, or however many tanks they have, really. So you can get your AoE damage through that team quite easily. So going from Hurricane right there, you would then go and pick up a Blade of the Rune King at this stage. This is going to synergize really well with the Blood Razor effect. So this is going to be max HP on the Blood Razor effect. I cannot show you apparently. I don't know why. Why isn't it popping up? Oh, there we go. So basic attacks deal 4% of the target's maximum HP and bonus physical damage. And if you look at Blade of the Rune King, they will deal 8% of the target's current HP as bonus physical damage. So the maximum HP is obviously going to do just more in general, but the current is then going to stack up if they're high HP. You're going to then destroy their health bar really, really fast, and then as soon as they get to the lower stages, then the Blood Razor is going to kick in to be more effective, because it's still based on our maximum HP and not our current HP. So if you have these items both against tanks, then you can see their HP from a full HP go down really fast, and then as soon as it hits a certain threshold, it's still going to go down quite quickly, but not as fast, simply because the way Blade of the Rune King works. But Blood Razor kind of compensates for that. So if you have a setup like this, with the Blood Razor, Cleaver, Hurricane, Blade, the Hurricane is going to put Blade and Blood Razor through the enemy's tanks, and it's just going to completely decimate their HP bar. So this setup would then be very, very good for those situations. Now to finish off a build like this, you have a couple of options. You can opt to go for rapid fire cannon if you feel that you need the range to be able to kill or to be able to just poke stuff down. If you feel like you have a range disadvantage, which usually when it comes to the 6th item in the build on Kindred isn't the case, because of the way your marks work, they're going to give you additional range. However, because of that, the rapid fire cannon also becomes more valuable late game, because the more range you have, the more destructive rapid fire cannon gets, really. Because you can just auto attack someone from like across the map, and there's really no one that's gonna outrange you at that point, so you can get free poke that way. So rapid fire cannon as a late game pickup is still a very valuable choice, simply because of Kindred's mark system, and would then be an option to end off a build like this. Now another option to end off a build like this is the Guardian Angel, just to help with survivability on your side. So if they jump in and by some miracle they will be able to get you, because if you play far enough back and use your range advantage and use your ultimate properly, then you would have destroyed their front line just really so fast that you will not have been able to die unless you get assassinated by an assassin or something like that, really. So Guardian Angel is going to give you a second life, going to give you that more survivability if you need it. And yeah, another good item at this stage in the game could be the Death's Dance. Death's Dance is just overall an insane item. It gives you armor magic resist, which is going to make you more tanky, but also an incredible amount of lifesteal on top of everything. So if you get to this stage in the game and you're noticing sustain issues or just anything of the sort, you can opt to go for the Death's Dance. If they don't really have assassins, then it's not worth picking up Guardian Angel, because most likely they will not be able to one-shot you or kill you if you were to have a Death's Dance over this. And this will then just be more valuable in sustaining you through the fights. So that's an option there as well. And I believe, honestly, that might be it. However, actually, no. Late game, if you want to, you can still, off of this Tank Destroyer build, opt for an Infinity Edge as well. But this is a very greedy build, so definitely be aware of doing this. If you kill the tanks with the HP destruction, and then Infinity Edge will help you kill the squishies a lot easier. Even though these squishies will still die pretty quickly, this is an option. You will deal more damage, your DPS will increase. However, it's a very risky one, because you will not have the defensive part of the items that these would give you, or the rapid fire would give you with the range advantage you have. Now, one final item you are able to pick up is the Mercurial Scimitar. And this will be good to get that CC off you. So if they really have a lot of CC, you can pick up a QSS at this stage still, and you're noticing you're getting locked down, then that's something you're gonna have to opt for, and it's just the way it is. So that's pretty much it for the Tank Destroyer setup. Now for the crit build, it's kind of it's very similar for this setup right here. So it's going to be obviously this. And then we have Hurricane again. If you're facing a lot of melee champions, then Hurricane is just best because you will get the AoE damage on the enemy team really easily. So it's just going to be more AoE destruct, like AoE kill potential. So that would be good then. If you're noticing that they have a lot of assassins, and you're going to need Phantom Dancer to help you survive with his shield. So that's the option there. And if you're noticing range issues, then get Rapid Fire Cannon. Usually, if you're going for a setup like this, it's either Phantom Dancer or the Hurricane, depending on, again, the enemy team, really. So, yeah. Now, going on from, like, let's say you pick up Phantom Dancer or pick up one of these items here. You then want to just opt to go for Infinity Edge, because with the way you build, the enemy team is most likely going to be squishy. You building the Warrior enchant. So, going here into a fully crit build is going to be very effective, especially if you would have picked up Bloodline. In your runes. That's also why I like Bloodline. You can then just opt to go for Infinity Edge, and you will still have Lifesteal and Sustain in your setup. And then also that with Conqueror combined is going to give you even more Sustain in your setup if you do have that. So that's the option here. Now the Infinity Edge will give you 50% crit chance alongside the Phantom Dancer. And that will give you high crit, like just really high crits. And also with your W is going to be able to increase the damage with Infinity Edge as well. So this is just going to be a completely based around destroying squishy targets. And you're going to do it very quickly and very effectively. Now as a final item in this build, I tend to just pick up the Rapid Fire Cannon. Like every single time really. The reason for this is it's going to give you 75% crit chance. Which is going to still not be 100% of course. But 100% really isn't that necessary. It's mainly because if you can get a rapid fire hit off, so let's say you have like 8 marks, right? Your range is going to be increased by a serious amount. If you stack that on top of rapid fire cannon and then have a crit build like this, every single auto attack you were to get off on any squishy target on the enemy team is going to just crit for like 1000 or something like that. So around those lines. So if you can just get one auto attack off, it's going to just put them out of the fight instantly, really. Or you can just get the auto attack off with the rapid fire cannon, dash forward with Q, and then auto attack one more time, because you can then get close the range your rapid fire gives you. And you would have just one-shot somebody like that. So this is a very viable setup in just completely deleting somebody from massive distances. The later the game goes, the more destructive this gets, because you get more range from your passive, from the marks. So that's really, really good as a stage, as an item at that stage. So this is usually a crit setup I would opt for in the late game. And if you get to the stage of this setup right here, you can then opt to sell your jungle item for either a Guardian Angel for something defensive. You can then opt to go for the Death's Dance as well. You can opt to go for Mercs, like for the Mercurial Scimitar if you need the extra QSS effect. Or you can also go for the Essence Reaver in a crit build like this. In a crit build like this, you would have, again, 75% crit rate with these 3 items. And then if you sell your jungle item late game, then the Essence Reaver is going to give you the 20% CDR, which is nice. You're going to give endless mana sustain, really, so that's no problem there. But mainly, it's going to round out the 100% crit chance, giving you 70 extra attack damage as well. And if you have a build setup like this, like right here, like this is just going to, like, if you get an auto attack off with Rapid Fire Cannon at this stage in the game, it's just going to delete somebody. It's going to crit for like 1400 and do that once or twice, and they're just out. They would have to reset or lifesteal or whatever. So this is a fully late game crit build that you can opt for. And yeah, that's really it for the Kindred build. I hope I explained it well enough. There's a lot of variables in this build, but this is the way that, like, yeah, it should be played. And if you guys have questions on it, make sure to put this in the comments below, because I know this might be confusing. But yeah, with that being said, if you guys have enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the thumbs up button, since it's helping out quite a bit. And yeah, let's get right into the gameplay section now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. As you can see, I am playing Kindred, of course, into a Kha'Zix. Now, this is probably the worst matchup you can have as Kindred. Like, Kha'Zix really shits on you pretty much throughout the entire game until, pretty much throughout the entire game. So this is the hardest counter matchup you can get against you. There are others, but this will probably be the worst. And yeah, so this gameplay, my initial game plan is to play around Kha'Zix's weaknesses and try to avoid him as much as possible initially if I can. That's the way you play against a matchup like this. So Kha'Zix's weaknesses is mainly going to be the early game. which is pre-level 6, pre-level 5. So if I play aggressive with that early game and maybe look for a play there, I can use my range advantage, and that's my best chance at actually killing / winning. So that's what I'm going to opt for. So I want to start red buff here and then clear towards top side. Top side in this case, if you look at the matchups right now, we have bot lane, Misfortune Zillion, and the Varus Nami. Now this matchup could go either way. Usually, probably the Varus Nami would win this, but yeah. The mid lane is kind of equal as well. This will snowball either way again. And top lane is the hardest snowball ever, because if Darius gets ahead, it's over. If Kled gets ahead, it's over on that lane. So my initial plan is just to try and put the pressure down on the Kled as fast as I can. Because this way then I will be able to get the Darius a lead, and if I can get the Darius a lead, that lane is done, and from there on out I can start focusing more towards going for dragons and that type of stuff. So the way this started, by the way, the Kha'Zix I believe got a leash, so he started blue buff. We can check in this case. I would have paid attention to this in game. Let me see all. Yeah, there he is. He started blue buff. So that's the information that I now know. That means that I'm going to play towards top side as fast as I can. He's probably going to go and opt for a full clear, because that's usually what Kha'Zixes do. So I have the time to clear a little bit faster, kill the Kled, and as soon as I kill the Kled, the Darius will have pressure, so the top scuttle will be mine if the Darius would help me out in that case. So that's really the plan here, and kind of at the same time hoping that top scuttle will then get the mark. Now, yeah. So going from here, W start, by the way, that's the fastest way to kill our camp with. Take Q second, again, camp clear speed. As you can see, I'm just going for a 3 camp clear that will get me the level 3 as fast as I can. And then right there, the Kled, I believe, wards here, because he ran down and warded like here in this region. Now what I think Kha'Zix is doing is, he is probably, like he did these 3 camps, probably just started his red or something like that. So I'm just going to take the time, take a little bit of a risk, because I kind of know that he's not going to be there. But I'm going to dodge the ward that he placed. So with a sweeping trinket on, I'm just going to hop over the wall right here. The Kha'Zix saw me apparently, which, yeah, but Kled has to walk from this direction because he was not in the lane, and at this point I'm just going to engage on him. My Darius has Ghost and Flash, he instantly pops Ghost, and all I have to focus on is getting Kled off his mount. If I can get Kled off his mount right here, then there's nothing they can do, because Kled's move speed off mount, as you can... Whoa, this is actually really high. This cannot be right. No, here, Kled's movement speed off mount is 130. So all I really have to do here is get him off the mount. That means he has no escapes. There's no way he's going to get away from a Darius that has Ghost ramping up. So right here, that's what I'm focusing on. And then as soon as the Kha'Zix jumps, as soon as the Kha'Zix goes in, I instantly just flash his flash E, or like his E, and then he flashes after me, doesn't have enough range. And that is simply because I do have Nimbus Cloak. So Nimbus Cloak kind of saved my ass there by flashing, and then there we go. Pick up the kill on the Kha'Zix and get my mark. Now I got really lucky here as well, being the top scuttle getting the mark. Now if the bot scuttle were to get the mark, that would have been a little bit awkward, because then the Kha'Zix would have gotten it. But this, yeah, it's just a 50-50 in the early game, really, this mark specifically. Now the way the mark system works is at 0 marks, if you have no marks at all, the mark is always going to spawn on the initial Scuttle Crab. So at 315, the mark is going to spawn on the Scuttle Crab. Then you have the 1 to 3 marks, which is going to spawn on the Scuttle Crab, the Raptors, or the Gromp. And then from mark 4 to 7, it's going to spawn on the Croc, the Blue Buff, the Red Buff, and the Wolf Camp. So you have to keep this in mind when it comes to clearing your jungle camps and opting for certain invades on enemy camps. You can also track the enemy's jungle really well by the use of your marks. So if the mark disappears, that means 10 seconds earlier the camp was cleared. So you can then initially know the camp cooldown, and off of knowing the camp cooldown that way, you can then predict when the camp and when the mark's going to spawn. This is one of the biggest things about Kindred that you have to learn to play around and play with. Yeah, so that's one of the things you'll see me put into practice here. So as you can see right now, I currently have 2 marks, which means I'm between the 1 and 3 mark range. So the mark is going to be either on Scuttle, on the Raptor camp as it is right now, or on the Gromp. This Raptor camp is obviously still up, and I could go and clear for this, but most likely in this scenario, the Kazakhs will get there fast enough to where I cannot do anything. So I'm just going to opt for my normal clear here, and I'm going to give up on this mark because this invade is really way too risky. My Echo is backing, has no mana. Sure, it has teleport, but in this specific scenario, the Kazakhs would have most likely already been there. I can quickly go check. So I do. It's pretty safe to check. Like, it's never really... In this case, I could be doing my Gromp. I could also, like... a lot of Kazakhs players tend to maybe prioritize the Dragon quite early on, which is something I sometimes do in certain situations if I'm a little bit behind or I just killed the bot lane or whatever. So in that case, I'm just gonna check. Like, if he did it, he did it. And then I'm just gonna go and opt to do whatever. But in this case, like, I could get there and I luckily still get the mark. So I didn't pressure for it fully initially, but just for checking a little bit there and seeing if he were to maybe back or not be doing it. It's always still a free mark, right? So it's never a wrong play to make. We see Kled get dismounted, and that pretty much means that we can just dive him, really. Like, and then I put my mark on the Kled as well, so this right now is another mark. Now this way, this early game is pretty good for me. It's off of playing like with a plan that I had for playing early pressure topside, and with the getting the like Darius ahead, really turning into a snowball. Now right here, as you can see, we hit the 4 to 7 mark range. So the next mark was going to go on the Krugs, the either buff camp or the Wolves. Now the Krugs were the only thing up in Kazakhs' jungle. But since I thought that the Kazakhs, like he was topside, the Darius didn't have any pressure anymore. Kled was going to come back to lane. Going for that mark right now would have been way too greedy for me. So I'm just going to go and opt to base. Maybe do my Gromp and just accept the fact that that mark is gone. I was expecting it to disappear at any point right now. But in this case, we see the Kazakhs on the Dragon. So this was an interesting play by him. Like, usually if you can leave a mark up like this in a safe position where the enemy wasn't going to go, then that's a good play. Because if you can defend the mark from going anywhere else, then the Kindred has to either overpressure and try to get the mark or, yeah, well... Now in this case, I figured this was going to be gone. However, Kazakhs was on his on the Dragon instead, so he was not going to opt for the Drake. I think that I needed the Dragon warded, because I always do this against champions like Kazakhs, since he will go and pressure the Dragon by himself if he can get the chance. So in this case, me picking that it's warded or me asking my team to ward for it is always going to pay off for me there. Now in this case, I'm just going to clear up, do some camps, and then play towards the mark if I can, because I know that the Kazakhs just died the Dragon, really. Now his red is spawning and my Echo is priority mid lane, so I'm just gonna assist ping and make sure that the Echo follows me here, make sure he backs me up. In this case, knowing that the mark is still up, I'm just gonna clear the mark, hop back over, take the red buff. I don't really initially want to clear the camp, simply because I just want to make sure I get out as fast as possible. Again, because Kazakhs is a hard counter matchup, I have to fully respect him at any point right now. Because he can just instantly one-shot me, really. I don't have a chance of winning a 1v1, so I have to play accordingly when I invade him. Now, I'm currently at 5 marks, so that still means that the mark system is going to be either the Wolves or the Krugs. Now, the thing is, I left a small Krug up, so the Krug camp is most likely not going to happen. So the moment the Wolf camp respawns, is most likely the Wolf camp is going to get it, or one of the buff camps is going to get it, because that is also a possibility in this case. Now, since the buff camps were just cleared, since I got Kazakhs' red, and he has his own blue buff, the next camp is definitely going to be the Wolf camp at some point soon. Pretty much as soon as the Wolf camp respawns, we'll get the mark on the Wolf camp. So this is something you have to think about when it comes to Kindred marks, because if you don't think about this thing, then you will like have a hard time to actually get your marks, get your marks going, get your marks stacked up. Kindred marks are very important because they like do so much for your damage and range. That you just have to keep focusing on getting them. Alright, here Zilean ult saves Misfortune. I'm gonna have to ult, and I'm pretty much forced to ult to save the Echo's life and my own life. I get the kill on the Akali, and they pretty much just like 4-manned mid lane, so there's really not much we can do. At that point, a 1-for-1 trade was pretty much worth it for us, and yeah. So I'm just gonna opt to clear some more camps in this case. This is like... I got past like the early stage when it comes to Kindred against Kazakhs. Kindred scales really well, so for this reason, late game you do have a really good chance. Like, you have so much range, you have so much damage that you can just free poke, and Kindred scales throughout the game like a monster. As you can see, as I just mentioned earlier, the mark is going to spawn on the wolf camp as soon as it spawns. And there is absolutely no chance I can really take this right now, because the enemy bot lane has massive pressure on my bot lane. Now my mid lane is ahead of their mid lane, but my complete pressure is topside. So this is like I have all the pressure here, but no pressure on the wolf camp. So I don't have any pressure to take this. That's a small issue. If I would have taken the small camp in this case, or the small Krog as well, which would have been way more risky. So this would have just been for the mark, right? But if I would have taken that, then there would have been a good chance that it would have spawned on this camp as well. And this camp was easily takeable for me since my Darius has a lead. However, since I did want to take his red buff and didn't want to stay in his jungle too long, I just opted to get the mark and get out, get red, and just run as fast as possible. Simply for this matchup. If it was any other matchup, I would have just opted to go for the full clear and just take a little bit more time. But this is a very volatile one-shot matchup. And you will see that problem here in 1 second, because I do remember this. As you can see, I wanted to go and kill the Kled with the Rift Herald and everything. The Kha'Zix just gets on me and I just instantly get one shot, as you can see. That's just the nature of this matchup, and that's what I've been playing so carefully around pretty much the entire game. So yeah. Now the Echo gets pretty much a double kill here, and my team cleans up, so I'm perfectly fine with this. We get a top turret and my team cleans, and I can just like... Oh yeah, I died, but there's nothing I can do. I just got face checked, or like, I face checked the Kha'Zix really, and that's pretty much all that is to it. So my next play right now is just to play for this dragon if I can. I need to get my team, because Echo is top lane, I need to get my team here. However, the Kha'Zix instantly opted to rush the dragon, which is a smart play by him, like, to be honest. He was not playing this poorly at all. But yeah, as you can see, the mark is still in the wolf camp, and he is keeping that wolf camp up and keeping the pressure, so I really cannot get my next mark going, which is a smart play from him, because he knows that his top side is really weak. So I'm not going to be able to, I'm going to be able to take this mark really easily, but this mark I'm pretty much never going to be able to take. So for that reason, it's really smart for him to leave it up, because that means this mark is pretty much locked down and I cannot take it. Now in this case, they 4-man dive bot lane. I'm just farming wherever I can, take his red buff and it's up, take his camps wherever I can. Because there's not much I can do right now. I can never be bot lane to counteract that play. And also, if I were to go bot lane, my bot lane is really weak. So there's nothing I can play around with them. So I'm just going to opt to take his camps wherever I can. Put his camps on cooldown and then go and opt for a play. Now, this is an unfortunate play, really. That's all I can say about it. Simply because, well, we see the Kled right here. Darius goes in a tiny bit early. My Q wasn't up yet. So if he just waited a little bit, that would have been good, but well, yeah, what can you do? Now in this case, he flashes out. I flashed, but on this account specifically, my key bindings weren't correct. So I didn't have the auto attack champion only on the keybind that I usually have it on. So I just auto attack a minion and he gets away, which is really annoying. Like after this, I instantly changed that, but yeah, there's not much I can do about it. And right here, as you can see, this is just like they 4-man collapse or 5-man collapse top lane after that, and we die for it, which is, yeah, annoying. Alright, so they get caught out in mid lane, and we have the, like, at this point in time, we have 3 people dead. So the Echo and the Varets are pretty much alone. They don't have a turret here, which instantly means they should just back off right now, because if they were to collapse down, they will die. Since it's just a numbers advantage game, and there's nothing we can do about it. Now, instead they try to opt for like the play here, which is just really stupid, and they just get double killed. And yeah, this is a little bit awkward of a game. My bot lane is now 1-6, which is a little bit unfortunate, I suppose. And this is all like, it wasn't really Kha'Zix having any influence in that lane, so it's, yeah. Now, as I mentioned earlier, with the mark system, you have the timers these days. As you can see, the moment I saw this timer right here, and you look at my own marks, I have 5 marks right now. You see this orange like thingy show, or like orange yellow thing show up. That means this camp's gonna spawn soon, in 20 seconds ish. That means with the marks I currently have, 5 is in between the 4 to 7 range. So that means it's gonna spawn in either buff camps, the Krugs or the Wolves. Now, as soon as this camp spawns, my mark will become, like, will go on this camp. So what you can see me do is I'm playing for that. I'm just going to clear my camp right now. And I'm, like, right here. You see this camp right now, but this one was earlier than the Wolf camp. This one was later. So this means that as soon as this camp spawns, this one is going to get the mark, because my mark is due to go on to a next camp. And we just need a camp to, like, proc the mark. So if any of the buff camps would spawn, it would go on the buff camp. But in this case, because this camp is going to spawn first, this is where it's going to go. So this is what I'm going to instantly rush for. As you can see, I'm just beelining for that, because I want to get that mark. And I know I'm going to get that mark only if I rush for it. So I'm just going to go over the wall, hop, and then hop over and then clear this as fast as I can. The Kha'Zix has no reaction time to me doing that, and I can just take the Rift Herald here as well. Now the dragon is spawning soon, but as you can see, me taking this Rift Herald, this is probably my last chance to do it, because the timer is going to run out soon. Or well, the timer, it's going to be 20 minutes soon, and then Baron's going to spawn. So I opt to, like, because my team has the position right now, like, we have bot lane pushing, we have mid lane here cleared out, they have the BRIO to walk in this a little bit here. So I do have a couple extra seconds in this specific scenario to get our team the Rift Herald and instantly run down with having that Rift Herald. Now also, as you can see, the Wolf camp, after clearing this, is still up, and I'm still within the mark range. So this Wolf camp is going to get the next mark, and that's just, yeah. So that's also good. If we win this team fight, then I would be able to get that as well. Now in this specific situation, my team allowed them really to start the dragon. The Echo was pushing bot a little bit too long, which is unfortunate, because now we have a little bit of an issue. As you can see, I'm just going to go back and show what happened really. So I took the Herald. This was for free really, because they didn't start it yet. I was still going to be have enough time to get there. My team had enough pressure, so that's good there. And the Echo at this point, as you can see, made the really big mistake of going bot lane and clearing this wave. If he were to have, like, stood here or maybe danced with this a little bit more, throw his W or whatever, if he was trying to dance a little bit more with the, like, pressure, then he could have prevented this completely from happening. But instead, he opted to go bot lane, so we have no pressure now. We have to walk in here, and I'm, like, currently there. But if he just pressured this, then we would have been able to do something about it. But however, in this case, he now gets there way too late, and he did not get the stun off or anything. So I'm just going to opt to try and go for the steal. I currently ult, but I ult out of the range for the dragon, since I just, like, I could get one shot at any time. And I just wanted to try and opt for the steal. However, I got really nicely zoned / CC'd by their team, so I wasn't able to get in range. Now, this play mainly just came down to Echo, like, going and greeting for a wave instead of pressuring for the dragon. So that's whatever, it kind of happens with solo queue teams. This is Diamond 1 elo, so even then it still happens, and it's just quite unfortunate. But right for that play, me trying to steal the dragon still, I kind of die. Probably you would have argued that I should not have gone for the steal, and we should have just accepted it after Echo didn't want to go for it anymore. And that would have most likely been the better play, but yeah, it's a dragon, I wanted to try to steal it. I do have the level advantage, so as far as a smite value goes, I would have been fine. And the only good thing here is that we see my team chasing the Kha'Zix to top side. This camp is going to be up, so I instantly know that I'm just going to go and be able to get this camp for free, really. And there you go. I'm just going to go and opt for the camp. My team kind of greets a little bit too much, I'd say. And they die on that chase. Now, as you can see, this is the range. Like, I'm going to have 7 marks right now, so I just cleared the next mark. And as you can see, within the range of the 7 mark, this camp is going to get the next mark. I just cleared the Wolf camp, this camp respawned, and this is still within the 4 to 7 mark range. So this camp got the mark, and off of these I would still be able to pressure for that if I could. Like, I would still go for it if I could, sorry, not pressure for it. Because at this moment in time, we don't have the pressure on the map. We have Darius right here, Denami right here, and we are a little bit overextended in this specific situation, so not ideal. I'm just trying to run back here as, like, wherever I could. And yeah, we kind of just get collapsed on and die. It's kind of just a little bit awkward there, honestly. I was expecting a little bit more damage from my team, and then this is the moment in time where I'm like, oh, this game is going fine because I'm doing fine. And I see my bot lane is 1 in 11, and I'm like, oh. So in this situation, I thought we could kill the Kled after he just engages on me, but we don't have damage. So that's a little bit of an awkward situation there. And yeah. they are now just like the issue with their team right now is they don't have enough like damage to go for a Baron. The only real Baron damage they have is Kha'Zix, and that's literally it. So that's pretty good for us. I can just put the Rift Herald down towards bot side and then just go and like play for pressure for the Kled. See if I can get the Kled out right before the next dragon's going to spawn. I was pretty much forced to place the Rift Herald, by the way, because it was going to run out. So yeah. Now the dragon's gonna spawn. I was looking to initially kill the Kled. He walked a bit too far back, I believe. So I checked the brushes, but I figured he just walked back. And then I would have to just back for the dragon right now. Now the good thing here is, this is pretty much like the moment in the game where, with the marks I do have, that I'm just going to be able to, if I peel with the backline, they would have to hard commit to dive, and then I can Kindred ult, and this is just the moment in the game. If we group together towards me, towards my ultimate, then we can look at just winning team fights that way with range advantage and everything. As you can see right here, the Akali is going to dive in, put a shroud down, and currently all I'm doing is I'm just going to play with my Varus together and go for like auto attacking champions within range. So all I'm doing is auto attack, like A clicking, so auto attack move. And as soon as Akali comes out of her shroud, I'm gonna have an auto attack on her. Unless Kled walks in range, then he's gonna get auto attacks as well. But as you can see, the moment she gets out of shroud, I instantly land 1 or 2 auto attacks, just simply for my auto attack move. The Akali then goes in. She dashes through. I just put my ult down. She dashes out of my ult and instantly dies, just simply because I was pressing auto attack move. This is a very important thing, because you need, like, you cannot react to clicking on the Akali yourself if she comes out of her shroud. There's just not enough reaction time for that. So all you have to do, and you need to make sure you do this, is you auto attack move on invisible targets like this, or in this situation. So auto attack move is instantly gonna auto attack any champion that gets close in your range the moment they are auto attackable. So if I didn't do that, I would not have gotten the 3 or 4 auto attacks off on the Akali as I did, and she would not have died in this case. So right there, she dies and gives me 1000 gold. And honestly, at that point, getting 1000 gold on Kindred this stage in the game is pretty much just GG. And I get my 8th mark here, which is really, really good. Alright, here, off of that play, off of me just kiting back and doing that auto attack move, like function, the Akali just dies for free, and right now we can just opt to go and take Baron if we wanted to. Actually, no, in this case I didn't have Smite, so Baron would have been too risky of a play right now. If I would have had Smite, then we could have gone for Baron. Alright, so going back off the map, on this one, we have the Phantom Dancer. Like, I'm picking up the Phantom Dancer here simply because I do not want to get one-shot. They have a full assassination team, and Phantom Dancer really, with his shield, is going to help you survive that really easily. Or I say really easily, but a lot more effectively. I'm just going to go and opt for clearing some camps here and there wherever I can. And we, right now, need to create vision for the Baron. So as you can see, I'm just trying to clear vision wherever I can. The Kled goes in with his ultimate, and at this point I'm just gonna have to kite as much as I can. As you can see, currently the way this teamfight is positioned, we have 3 people right here. We have the Kled on his own right here, and wherever Kha'Zix is, I'm not too sure with this right now. He probably pressed ultimate somewhere and is invisible right now. So at this moment I'm just gonna go and opt to help the Nami. I, at this rate, do not, like, one important thing here is, you have to remember that, yes, you can ult to save the Nami, but if I would have ulted to save a support that is currently 1 in 5, I would have wasted my ultimate. Like, this is a situation where all I just need to think about is killing this Kled, and then making sure that I keep my ultimate for the moment I need it, instead of my team needs it, or the Nami needs it in this case. Like, you can only ult for high priority targets or yourself, and not for a support that's just not worth much at this point. So you just have to keep that in mind to try and not waste your ultimate. And that's really what I'm going for in this team fight now. Kha'Zix, we see him everyone here. So the way they have currently are positioned, this Akali is really low. They don't have like anyone pressuring me at the moment, so I can easily go and kill this Kled as he gets demounted. As you can see right there, I just like auto attack the Akali once. I keep auto attack moving wherever I can for champions only. And right there, the Akali, like I focus the Kled first. It's all about priority. And at the moment the Misfortune gets on me here, this is where I use my ultimate to protect myself. They dive in. Misfortune's gonna stay out of that range. The Akali has nowhere to go really at this point. You kill the Akali and just peel back. Now in this rate, Misfortune gets the vision on me and sadly still kills me. I thought that I would have just been able to auto-attack her over the wall. I greeted it a little bit too much on this one. So with her throwing her Q, killing me, and then me dying also killed the Varus, which was a little bit of a misplay on my part there. It's unfortunate. I'll go back and show it again. But this is just me using my ultimate at the right time. As you can see, this is the moment where I get engaged on. Akali comes back in. I do not get killed because of my ultimate. And then right now, I mean, Darius would have gotten this regardless. So me going in on this play is pretty much just greeting. And that was a misplay on my part. They also, yeah, right there, they had vision. So I just get killed and mistakes, I suppose. That's a bit unfortunate. Alright. So getting back on the map right now. My next item, Infinity Edge. And yeah, as soon as I pick that up, it's pretty much game over. Because that, with the range I have and the Infinity Edge strength, it would have been just, yeah, it's just done then. Now here, the Darius gets caught out and dies, which is a bit unfortunate. Dragon's gonna spawn soon, so Darius will not be here for the Drake. So the only things we can really do at this stage is go up to try and steal the Dragon. Now one way to do this as Kindred, if you have your ultimate up, is you stand right here. You ult, then your ult is gonna go just barely over the wall, in this case. Then you can Q over. Press your W as well, and then just smite the dragon, and then you can Q back, pretty much because your W puts it on a very low cooldown. If you don't press W, then Q over, and then you're never going to have your Q to go back over. But if you do that combination, so ult right here, so your ult's going to go just in the pit, and this will make you invincible, or like, yeah, unkillable when you jump over in the pit. So you can stand there, smite the dragon, wait within the ult timer, jump back over, and you can get out that way. Now, they will probably chase you at that point if they have leaps or anything like that. But that's the way to steal anything, if you want to go for it. Now, the other way you can do it as well, if you want to stall, or for your team to get there, you can also get in, like, just jump over, get in range of the dragon, and then just ult the dragon, because then the dragon's going to become unkillable as well. The enemy jungler can waste, and, like, if you time your ultimate properly and he tries to smite the dragon, he's going to smite it. Then his smite's going to be on cooldown the moment your ultimate goes off. Then you will be able to smite it as well. So that's the two ways you can do it. You can do it by ulting here and then keeping your like safety, keeping your health bar unkillable for a certain period of time. Smite the dragon, hop back. Or you can keep the dragon alive with your ultimate as well. He's going to waste his smite. You can smite it after and you can get it. So that's really the two options here. Now in this specific case, the Echo comes in with a very clutch steal. So that's just a really bad play from Kha'Zix, honestly, not smiting that. And yeah, the team just gets engaged on here, and that's fine. We get the dragon there, that's really all we wanted, and that's really good for us now. Alright, here, we figured they might be doing Baron, so we had to check. And as you can see right here as well, actually. The Nami currently is checking for vision, and I'm currently just standing here. So we see the Kha'Zix, see the Nami, and he's obviously with his Zillion speed buff just gonna run after us. So I'm just gonna stand here, wait, within vision, and then if Nami would have landed the bubble there, then he would have died. But in this case, with Kha'Zix ultimate and his invisibility, he gets out alive. Now, he would have probably never died because Zillion could have just ulted him, but that would have been Zillion ult down. And if he died in a terrible spot for him, the Darius would have gotten there in time for enough pressure to, yeah, they'll kill him anyway. The moment Kha'Zix dies really is the moment we could have just done Baron. So that's kind of what I was hoping for in that situation. Now currently with this, we need to keep the pressure up, push mid out wherever we can. I believe in this situation, I do almost have enough gold. Yeah, I almost have enough gold for Infinity Edge. Infinity Edge is 2100. So I'm just going to opt and tell my team, like, look, I need to get my Infinity Edge right now. Wait here, pick it up. And that's going to be a big power spike. This is going to increase my damage by a lot. And off of taking those 2 attempts, I'm also hitting level 16. So currently being level 16 is the highest in the game alongside Misfortune. Yeah, not sure how Misfortune actually well, never mind. I know why she got it. She's doing pretty well in this case. But picking up level 16, I have 8 marks. I have a massive range currently. So as you can see, the bonuses I get. This is really good for me because now with the Infinity Edge and everything I have, then I just be able to kite back. I'm really hard to kill right now. And I could just kite back and do a lot of damage. As you can see, all the crits I'm landing on them, 300 crits every time. And also, because the, like, my wolf is gonna hit them as well, so they take even more damage. Akali pretty much lost her entire, like HP bar to 1 or 2 auto attacks. And this is the moment in time where if you can kite with your range properly late game, there's absolutely no chance of you dying. I use my ultimate there to save the Darius. And we're just gonna opt to go for this dragon when it spawns, when we get the chance. So I'm looking to clear some vision right there. I don't want to go in too deep, because if I die, then it's over. We lose the dragon, because as a jungler you cannot... Like, I cannot be face checking any of this right now. They could be anywhere, and if I face check anything and die, I give up the dragon soul, and that's just not happening. That's not a good play. That's instantly GG. So you really, as a jungler, have to carefully think about that. My ultimate's gonna be back up in 21 seconds. Dragon's gonna spawn in approximately the same time. So I'm just kind of... I do not want to engage a fight unless I have my ultimate up. My ultimate and flash are gonna be up for this fight if I just wait 18 seconds. So if I can afford to wait, I'm gonna have to wait. Because if I don't, then it's just gonna be very dumb if I die and my ultimate and flash have like a 2-second cooldown. I'm pinging my ultimate, pinging everything I can right there. Not going in too aggressively. I'm still playing a little bit passive, as you can see. Now my ultimate gonna come up, Akali dives in, and I'm just gonna have to opt to go for the Akali right now. I cannot go for anything else. And again, as I mentioned earlier, auto attack move is your best friend in this situation where she becomes invisible. Right here, she's invisible. I'm just auto attack moving, as you can see. I just auto attacked the Kled simply because he got in range, and I was auto attack moving for this guy. So right there, Akali got closer into range, and with my auto attack move, we killed that guy. And now I just ult. Keep my team alive, make a play there, and that's really it. So it's really about just, you can go front to back with Kindred at this stage in the game. You have a lot of damage, you have a lot of range as well. You can easily outrange a lot of champions, and with that you will be able to win team fights later in the game by just playing it slow, playing front to back, and that's just the way to do it. Now, off of just this game specifically, Kha'Zix being a very hard counter matchup, this is probably the worst matchup you can face. I would have liked to play more aggressive in certain situations normally, but because of this matchup I wasn't allowed to do that, so I just had to like really think about my marks. Like, thinking about your marks and like knowing when they're gonna spawn on what is a core mechanic for Kindred. You can use your marks because as soon as you can use your marks to track him as a jungler, because as soon as the mark disappears off the map, you know the camp was killed 10 seconds ago, and that will give you the camp cooldown timer, because camps have a 2.5 minute cooldown, or 2 minutes actually these days, not 2.5 minutes, right? Anyway, you can then track the camp cooldown, and then you just have the cooldown on the camp, know what you did rotation wise, and as soon as the camp is going to start spawning, you know where the marks are going to be, and you have to play around that. So in this case I had 250 CS to 171 in a counter matchup, so I played this pretty well, and that's really how you play Kindred, how to do it. I hope you guys learned something from this guide. If you did, make sure to hit the thumbs up button below, helps me out quite a lot. If you want to see more guides from me in the future, hit the subscribe button as well. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!